a couple of days ago. I made this little maceration and I'm about to put it into that little still to make ouzo. So let me show you how I made this first and then we can do the distilling together. This video is sponsored by Noom. More on that later. How's it going, chasers? I hope you're having a kick-ass week. I'm Jesse, this is Still It, and a little while ago I made this. This is just star anise that's been distilled. And I gotta say, it is pretty freaking, it's yum. But it's not quite ouzo. I gotta put a few other things in there to make something that I would consider ouzo. So, let me show you what I've done already, shall I? I started off with 1 litre of neutral spirit or vodka at 40% ABV. Today, I am using the Kale Wash vodka I made a little while ago. Of course, there is a video for it. I'll stick a link in the description down below if you want to try it. Next up, 9 grams of this stuff, sometimes called anise, sometimes called aniseed, but it is completely different to this stuff, which is star anise. We're using 6 grams of this stuff, so just don't fall into the trap of thinking it's the same. It's not. We also need 6 grams of fennel. Fennel seeds and aniseed seeds can look quite similar sometimes, but oftentimes the aniseed is a lot darker than the fennel is. Anyway, all of that gets lightly crushed in a pestle and mortar and added on into our 40% vodka and let sit to macerate for 24 to 48 hours. A quick step backwards to talk about what ouzo is. It's a distilled clear spirit, predominantly tasting like aniseed. You know, everyone refers to it as black licorice flavor. That is drunk traditionally in Greece. I have a commercial example here. I'm going to be tasting my spirit next to this at the end of the video, and we can talk a little bit more then about, you know, how people generally drink this stuff. After maceration, you're going to end up with something that looks surprisingly similar, funnily enough, to this stuff. And it smells and tastes, I mean, kind of roughly how it's going to at the end. But the biggest difference now is that we've got floaty stuff in it that is going to change the flavor over time. Even if we filter it, it will continue to change. And it's also, it's not clear. We don't want that. So let's get into distillation. Today, I'm going to be using this little chappy here, which is the air still from Still Spirits. No, it's not sponsored by them. They don't even know I'm making this video. All it does is heat the liquid down here and it boils. Some of it evaporates at any given time. It goes up through this part here, which essentially collects the vapor into a long pipe that has fins all over it, and it blows air over it, acts as a heat exchanger and recondenses the vapor so you can collect it out the bottom. It is just a little simple pot still, but it does a very good job for things like this, where you want to do small test batches. You know, no fuss, don't have to mess around with running water or, you know, have it over by a sink or anything like that. But simply, I'm just going to tip all of this in here. Obviously, I did put all of the botanicals, the spices, whatever you want to call them, into the pot. Yes, depending on the still you are using, you run the risk of scorching, which basically just means burning chunky stuff to the bottom of the still. Now, I've done exactly this sort of thing with exactly these kind of recipes in this thing, I don't know, maybe 20 times, 30 times, and I have yet to have any problem at all. I've yet to actually scorch anything onto the bottom. Slight discoloration, sure, but that's about it. Depending on your still, that might be an issue. There are a bunch of different ways you can go into solving that with kind of false bottoms or DIY false bottoms, putting botanicals into the bag, suspending the bag. It's a whole other thing. Just know that there are ways around it out there. If you want to look into them, by all means, go ahead. Something to hold the glass up, a glass to get under the spout. I will be honest, guys, I haven't distilled this exact recipe before, but I have distilled a bunch of stuff very similar to this, and all of that experience tells me that the first little bit coming off this still is just going to be horrible. Not because of cuts for the spirit itself or methanol or anything crazy like that, just purely because the flavor of the botanicals coming out at the very beginning just goes weird. So we're going to take a small amount, probably literally like 5-10 mils, until it just starts tasting like a spirit should taste. And then we're going to start collecting. Let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video while we're waiting for this, eh? Noom is a new and different way to get healthy and achieve your goals using proven psychological and cognitive behavioral therapy practices. It helps you learn why you make decisions, what's going on inside your head, so you can start changing your behavior long term. You may have noticed a little while back, I lost a significant amount of weight, and that was because I was using Noom and absolutely loving it. It helped me turn getting healthier into a fun challenge. One of my absolute favorite things in the world is to problem solve within constraints. And Noom let me do exactly that with one of my other great passions, which is cooking. The built-in training sessions helped me make really good decisions about what I was eating, and the calorie tracking system, which is amazing, kept me in check, basically. My go-to power move in the mornings was bacon and egg tacos for breakfast. Noom also helped me better define and realize why all of this stuff is important to me. Turns out I realized it's all about energy. Having more energy to be able to actually play with my kids while they're still kids. More energy to do stuff with the family. More energy to invest and spend on hobbies and things that I love. And let's face it, when I've got more energy, I make better videos for you guys. Everything was wonderful. I had lots of energy. I was losing weight. I felt good. And then suddenly it wasn't. And I could give you reasons, but honestly, they're all just excuses. I got slack and I got lazy. So here's the thing. Noom thinks they're sponsoring me right now, and that's true. But I'm using them. I'm using this ad segment as a commitment device. Now you guys know that this is something that I want to do. I've said it, it's out there to way too many people. And I'm hoping that's going to help me do a better job of it this time. Right before I go to America for 3 weeks. I didn't think this through. Anyway, if you have health and fitness goals that you'd like to improve on as well, click the link in the description down below to take their free 30-second quiz. That'll get you started. And if you do it, please make sure, drop a comment, let me know you're doing it, and maybe we can help keep each other a little bit more accountable. So we have collected first drips, maybe, I don't know, like 30 mils or something like that. Not a lot at all. And we're over to collecting hearts, which is running along nicely at the moment. My guess is that we're probably going to make a cut from hearts to tails, as in we're going to stop collecting what we want to actually keep for this product at around about 55-60% ABV, but I'll make that call when we get to it. I will use my handy dandy, oh my word, where is it? Refractometer. This one is specifically calibrated to read straight alcohol, ABV, and it works from 0% up to around about 80%. It is not accurate at all, over 80%. You're just making a guess. But running off the still like this, I find it great because you can just take a few little drops, take a reading, and you know exactly where you're at. You don't have to collect a bunch for a hydrometer, so on and so forth. Anyway, let's go wait, shall we? When you're doing a distillation like this with botanicals in the vapor path, and especially with botanicals that have been macerated, it's really quite interesting because all of the different flavors fraction out over the course of distillation. And I think, personally, it makes you a better distiller to just sort of taste it every now and again. See what's happening. Kind of log away in the back of your brain, even if it's subconsciously, what flavors come out at different points in the run. All right, so that is down at 58% ABV, and let me just have one more shake. Yeah, I'm calling it. It still tastes a little bit, it's more fennel-y now than anything, I think, and it's starting to get a little bit too green. How else did I, kind of grassy, not, somewhere between grassy and hay-like. I'm gonna cut it there anyway. So let's get this mixed together and proofed down. And of course, we need a little sugar. I am going with 30 grams per litre. Of course, if you don't want to use the sugar, it's up to you, don't put it in. But I will say that sugar is basically, it's seasoning it. It's like cooking a steak and not putting salt on it. You're just not gonna taste as much flavor without the sugar. But it's up to you. Earlier on in the video, I promised you that we'd have a little bit of a talk about how to drink Ouzo. I'm a firm believer of drink it however makes you happy. But let's talk about some of the ways that it's commonly drunk. People seem to love to put this stuff in coffee. I haven't tried that yet, but I am damn sure going to. Sounds like a wonderful way to Irish up your morning, that is for sure. Orange juice, people love it in orange juice as well. Not sure about that, I'll get around to trying it. But the more traditional way is just to drink it straight, or with a little bit of ice, or with a splash of cold water. And the idea is that you sip it and enjoy it. You don't shoot it. If you want to, go ahead, by all means. But the idea is that it's a flavor punch, that's for sure. And taking small sips let you enjoy that for a long period of time. So, cheers, guys. Yeah, giant punch in the face of flavor. I think I've decided where the differences lie between these two, but let's bring Mrs. Stiller in and see what she has to say, shall we? All right. I have 2 drinks for you to try. You have no idea what they are. But first, before you drink them, you've got to put a little bit of that cold water into each glass.
Okay. Ooh, that's really...
That?
It is almost blue.
Blue?
Yeah, maybe it's the light.
Oh, yeah, it's the light reflecting.
That's cool.
So that is called lushing. And basically what's happening is we crammed like heaps of flavor in there. That's enough, you're good. And as the ABV is dropping down, the flavor can't stay in solution, so it's all dropping out of solution and making it go hazy.
Lushing.
Lushing, yeah.
Okay.
All right, taste away.
Because it looks like it should be milk, but it's not going to taste like that. It's so nice. It's black licorice.
I thought I was setting her up. I thought she didn't like. I know
It
you're not
tastes
huge
like
on
black
licorice.
I like black licorice or licorice, whatever.
Yeah, that's just what. You shouldn't have to define that licorice is black.
Wow, that's even more licoricey. That's really good. They're both really good. This one looks more like milk.
That one has lushed more.
Oh, inappropriate and weird. But yes, I like this one better.
Interesting. What is different about it, and why do you like it better? Get your mind out of the gutter,
No,
woman.
it's less like wobbly. It's thicker. This one is. Look.
I feel like this one is more pure black licorice, almost to the point where it almost gets to like salty black licorice.
I never thought of that flavor as salty, but I know
Or
what you
Marmite-y
mean. I know
or
what you
something.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas this one, I feel like there's a little bit more, it's almost like grassiness or hayiness.
Like more, it's more cheap licorice. This is more real licorice. What?
That's my one.
They're both really good. I like this one better though.
You know what? I agree. I need to say a huge, huge thank you to the Patreons. Thanks, guys. I thoroughly freaking appreciate it. I really, really do. You're the people that help me day in, day out. I couldn't do this job without you. So thank you for giving me the ability to have the best job on the face of the planet. Once again, Mrs. Stillett has managed to say pretty much what I feel, but in very different words. I have never described a spirit as wobbly, for example. But I agree with her. This one has a stronger black licorice flavor. It's almost salty. And when I say that, it's almost Marmite-y. But to be fair, there's not a lot of much else going on in it. So I enjoy the stronger anise flavor in this side, but on this side, I feel like there's a little bit more complexity and other flavors going on. That could be the fact that I know exactly what's in there and I'm looking for it. I do wonder if I push slightly too far into the tails. Do you remember when I said that they were kind of coming across in between grassy and hay-like? I kind of enjoy that flavor in this in some ways, in that it gives it kind of more life. It's not just black jelly beans. If and when I make this again, because it is absolutely delicious, guys, I cannot stress that enough. And the difference between the two, I think we're both looking for differences and we're making it sound bigger than it is. It's pretty damn close. But the beauty with this kind of thing is it was so easy to make. It didn't take up a whole lot of alcohol. It didn't take up a whole lot of botanicals. I can just make it again tomorrow if I want to, and then I can tweak it. You can tweak it to your exact flavor profile. So if you do want to try this, please guys, get amongst it, because I think it's 100% worth it. I'd suggest doing something pretty similar to this recipe to start with. and then chopping and changing. Perhaps you don't like the fennel at all. Take it out, replace it with a different botanical. I think you get the idea. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this video, please, oh, excuse me, give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know if you think I should have bought a different bottle of commercial Ouzo to taste this against. And if you do have a suggestion for a better commercial expression, let me know how you think we could change the botanical ratios or the botanicals in it to match the one you like. Keep on chasing the craft, guys. See ya.